So you guys up on the hilltop over there? Is that where you guys are located these days? Or are you
No,
down at a golf course?
actually, we're the ones out. We're out by Deadwood Avenue.
Yeah, by the
Actually,
golf course there.
yep, exactly. You got it.
So you guys up on the hilltop over there? Is that where you guys are located these days?
No,
Nice delay.
we're the ones out. We're out by Deadwood Avenue.
I think my brother-in-law and one of his daughters have worked out there over the years. So.
Oh, no kidding. Yeah, I've been here for about just coming up on 2 years. Just a
Okay.
little bit. Yeah.
We should have a good voice for voiceovers for the commercials. That's for sure.
Yeah. Before I worked at the station, I actually was in radio for a couple of years. So
Well, it's important to get your radio voice out there and make sure you
that's
get
right.
going. So,
I can say I used it for its purpose.
there you go. Okay, so what? Weird.
All right, and George, our production director at the station is actually going to ask that you talk just to make sure that she can hear your mic. All right.
Okay. Well, 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth in this continent a new nation. And after this nation was created, we decided to make Meals on Wheels Western South Dakota on the seventh day. And it was good.
Perfect. Did you get that, Miranda?
We supposed to be starting at 11? Is that what time we're starting up?
Oh, yep, 11 o'clock. So. Hello, Mr. Anderson.
Hey, Brady. How's it going?
Doing all right. We have one in the nest so far, waiting for everyone else to trickle in.
Okay. Brant's on his way, I suspect.
He's in the studio, yes.
Perfect. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, I'm just going to lay out on mute here.
Fair
Hi,
enough.
George. Thanks for joining us, by the way.
That's all right.
Your screen's a little bit off there.
Yeah, just a wee
Here, I like the 90 though. That's fun.
bit.
You're sideways, Brant.
Yeah, you're sideways. Yep, there we go. And it looks like you're set for a phone view instead of screen view.
I don't know who's been messing with this. Don't know.
That might have been me when I had the severe thunderstorm warning and I put the orientation on lock.
Okay. In that case,
I apologize for that.
that's okay. Chat. Let's see. Good morning, George.
Good morning. We could all turn 90 degrees and just be
Yeah,
like,
right.
join the cool kids, you know. I like the special back there. Background is a cool 45. That's kind of artistic.
Yeah, we can do it this way too.
Yeah.
Okay. No. Brightness.
I could join the cool kids and mute my video too. How about that?
Eric, what'd you do to switch it around? Right now.
All right. Good morning, everybody. We're having a few video issues on Brant's end, but let's see. We're steadily getting everyone in here, so that's good.
That should solve that.
Ah, Brant, there you are. Good.
Okay. Thank you, Eric.
All right. Let's see who we have so far. We have Matt. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. How's everybody today?
Let's see. And actually, Matt, I might quickly just have you move your camera down a bit. When we add graphics with your name, we don't want to cut off your chin or anything like that. That should do just fine.
Yeah, if you could cut all this off, that would help. You know,
Let's
you
see.
can make a silk purse out of this size. You're my hero.
All right. All right. We'll see what we can do with the movie magic.
Can't
Bonnie,
mess
I
with
might actually
perfection,
have
Matt.
you do
Come
the
on.
same.
All right, move it down.
Yep.
Okay. All right.
Maybe
better?
down just a smidge more, actually. Well, just want to be sure. Perfect. That'll do just fine. Okay. Now we're just waiting for Kelsey and Audrey to join us next, and we can really get the ball rolling here.
So I practiced my lines, Matt. Food? What do you mean food? We don't do anything about food. Is that what we're going to say?
Food. Food. How do you spell that?
Food. That's a 4-letter word. Come on.
I spent half my life untangling headphones.
Other half reinserting them, they fall out of your earbuds.
Okay. Here we are.
Okay.
Good morning, Kelsey.
Good morning.
All right, how are we feeling this morning?
Pretty good. How are you?
Well, we're not half bad. I think we're steadily getting to where we need to be. Let's see. Just go through and looks like. Actually, Audrey, are you here? Is that you with the Zoom helpline? I imagine it is, but you are muted right now. We'll see.
It is me. I'm just trying. I'm just putting on my video. Hello.
Gotcha. Okay. All right. Okay, perfect. So just to run through a few of the basics, during the stream, I'll ask that everyone actually have their mics unmuted, just so we don't have any awkward pauses where someone's talking and they're silent the whole time. And I think in just a little bit, we'll probably have you guys do a mic check, just so our production director can make sure everything's working through all of the various pipes that we have. And just as a reminder, I think everyone here has done a call like this in the past with us, but just to go over a few of the reminders, 3 minutes before 11 o'clock, we'll be doing a complete silence just to make sure that nothing goes awry. And then immediately after the call as well, be having a few moments of silence just to make sure that we get everything shut off in time. And just a reminder that we will have the chat. If I could ask you all to have the chat open just so we can, kind of coordinate who's talking next, and just kind of, if you have something that you would like to add and don't want to interrupt anybody, just type in the chat that you want to kind of build off of that point, something like that. But I think, Miranda, if you want us to do the mic check, we can go ahead and get that started. All right, everybody. Yep, I think we're good to go. Brant, I think, oh yeah, sorry. Brant's camera is doing all right, Miranda.
Yes. Yeah, I'm ready to go when you are. Okay. And I'm talking as soon as Miranda told me to talk, because that's what I've been told to do. I'm talking now, saying the best things, the greatest things. Would you like me to say more words?
All right, okay. One more time.
All right. And I'm talking. I've been given the cue to talk, so I'm now talking, and I'm going to do it for the next 3 or 4 seconds just to make sure that the talking can be heard. All right. Someone else.
Okay, we have our delay figured out, so we're good to go. I think we'll just go through the line and have everyone speak to make sure that Miranda can hear everybody. So Miranda will be starting that mic check here for everyone, and we'll start off with Audrey, if you could please say a few words.
Perfect. I will say a few words. I am Audrey Nortine from Helpline Center. It is a Friday.
Okay, then Matt.
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's having a great day. Thank God it's Friday. Can't wait for tomorrow. Well, can't wait for today. How's that work?
That'll do just fine. George, you've already checked you, so we'll move on to Bonnie real fast.
Hi, it's Bonnie Spain with Consumer Credit Counseling. I'm also looking forward to the weekend.
Awesome. And last but not least, Kelsey.
Good morning, everybody. I, too, am equally glad that it is Friday.
Aren't we all?
Okay.
Okay, let's see. So far, nothing's on fire. I think we're doing all right.
Right. Keep the fire extinguisher handy.
Now, there is that 33-second delay, so just making sure everyone's doing all right. But I think we'll be okay.
That's for you, Matt. If you start saying bad words, they can scram us. So
yeah, just all of a sudden the screen goes blank.
That's right. We
that's
know
how
that.
That's how they take care of ugly, George.
Well, they'd have me muted if they did that. So.
Oh no, I wouldn't even be here.
Hey, Bonnie, while we're waiting a pause here, do you guys have anything that we could send out to our seniors about the credit and stuff like that might be appropriate for those kind of people?
Are you looking for something electronic or something printed?
If it's electronic, we could print it ourselves. but it'll be a hard copy that we would send out. So we're just
Okay,
trying to do different things every month. I realize we haven't done anything from you guys in years, so it'd be kind of nice to send something out.
yes, we can come up with something for you, George.
All right.
All right.
I'll fire my email in the chat just in case you don't have it.
Okay.
Thanks for your email the other day, Kelsey. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Happy to help.
Looking forward to it this year.
Yeah.
Are we doing chickens or turkeys this year? You know?
We're doing turkeys. I don't know what happened the year they did chickens.
Well, turkeys are just so gosh darn big. We got so many complaints that this little grandma had a 28-pound turkey that wouldn't even fit in her oven, much less whatever. So
I'm going to order tiny turkeys for them.
please, that'd
Maybe
be
like
great.
a turkey breast or something.
That'd be fabulous.
Yeah.
That's an embarrassment of riches, I believe. So.
Right.
Hi all, it's me, Audrey. I'm not turning on my camera because I'm not going to be on the call, but I wanted to just thank every single one of you guys for coming onto the panel today. I think this will be a really great meeting to kind of talk about some of the updates and some of the resources that are out there in the community. So thank you guys so much.
Needed that.
I'm not sure how to change so that my title says consumer credit counseling. Anybody want to tell me how to do that?
Oh, we will have graphics on our end to properly. Yeah, don't worry.
All right.
No worries.
All right.
But if you click on your picture and there's little
Yeah.
3 dots in the top right corner, that'll change your
Yeah.
name. Go to edit
Ah,
name or whatever. But again, no one sees that except for us on this screen. So,
okay.
but it's nice when you're in those big, massive groups.
Yeah.
Okay. And we are just a couple minutes away from starting our radio silence. So if you have any things to say, do it now or forever hold your peace.
But then say lots of things. Say all the things.
All the things.
You talk too much anyway. Hey,
Nice try.
one quick reminder for everybody. You can mute yourselves if you'd like when you're not talking. That's totally up to you. Just please remember to unmute yourself when you begin talking, or it'll be super awkward for a minute. And the system will just pick up when you are speaking. When Brent calls on you, you start speaking, then you'll pop up on screen. Zoom will do that automatically. So just that little note.
So we focusing more on current resources, past activities, or a combination of both?
Both, kind of like how has the scene changed when we started going through this back in March, April, and May. Now we've actually kind of gotten maybe into a groove. We understand what the needs are. Maybe they're changing a little bit as we get towards the fall. Things of that nature. So, but I'll lead the direction one way or another. And if there's if there's something that someone wants to add. You guys know about the chat feature on the side, just pop it up. I'll look at it and I will pop through.
Appreciate it.
And
I miss your quilt, Audrey.
What's that?
I miss your quilt. Your big star quilt or whatever you had.
I know. Where's my quilt behind
I
me?
know.
Just a boring blank wall now. I moved it downstairs. So
See, I'm still representing here though, so got my 211
I
above
see
my
that.
shoulder, so.
Well done.
And feeding South Dakota behind my head, as well. So.
For whatever reason, my computer won't let me put a background up. Doesn't support it, it says so.
I like your background, very studious.
All right, everybody, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask for complete silence for the next 3 minutes. It's going to feel like an eternity, but I promise we'll make it through to the other end.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right. Good morning, everyone. We are now looking at our next United panel, and we're going to be talking about some things that we actually hashed about earlier in the year, but a lot has changed. We're actually starting to get in a groove with some of these resources that we're trying to get a hold of here in the Black Hills. We have a wonderful panel put together. What I'd like to do is go to each of the panelists, have them give like a 30-second brief of what their organization is about, what they do, and then we're going to really get in the weeds about this and answer some of these questions that have been coming up from the community. This panel was actually really brought on by the community saying we need more information about basic resources, economical needs, consumer crediting, food security, all these things. We're going to be talking about that today. So if you're just joining us, should be a good session. George Larson, I wanted to start with you with Meals on Wheels. Tell me a little bit about your organization.
Sure, we are Meals on Wheels, Western South Dakota. We serve seniors 60 up from Edgemont in the south to Rapid City, up to Lemon in the north, out to Wall and Dupree and everywhere in between. We provide wonderful daily lunch as well as evening and weekend meals to seniors all across Western South Dakota, all on a donation basis.
Wonderful organization. Bonnie, Consumer Crediting. Tell me a little bit about what you guys do.
We support the financial wellness of everyone in our community. We serve from Pierre to the border and beyond. Our services are at no charge. So we're used to dealing with people that are struggling with crises, and that's what we do 365 days a year. We're a United Way agency, and we're a HUD certified housing counseling agency. So if you have housing questions, call us. It's no charge.
An invaluable thing is having financial strategy in your back pocket and knowing what to do. Bonnie, we are glad you are here. Mr. Matt Gasson, Feeding South Dakota.
Wow. Well, good morning, everybody. Matt Gasson with Feeding South Dakota. Feeding South Dakota is a statewide charitable nonprofit that provides food to individuals and families in need across the entire state. We happen to have 3 distribution locations. So we have warehouses in Sioux Falls, Pierre, and Rapid City. Providing food to organizations and individuals in all 66 counties of South Dakota. From our Rapid City location, we're covering the most western 12 to 14 counties from that location. And just continue to source food from across the nation, food that we're able to use then to provide to those organizations and individuals that are in need of that assistance.
Matt, thank you so much. We're looking forward to talking about that, as that has been one of the big things coming through about people wanting to get more information about. And let's do Kelsey Marino, and Salvation Army doesn't need too much introduction, but we'll let you do it anyway.
Good morning, everyone. Kelsey Marino with the Salvation Army of the Black Hills. We serve all West River counties with basic human needs assistance, food pantry, emergency financial assistance for utilities. And since the COVID pandemic started, we have a COVID relief fund as well. So yeah, we've been pretty busy these days.
I would assume you guys have been pretty busy these days. I think that's a safe assumption for a lot of these organizations. But last but not least, we're talking about Audrey Nordine with the Helpline Center. This is a critical piece here, but I want you to give us the tidbit here.
Yeah, so Helpline Center, we recently in July started serving the entire state. So most people are familiar with 211. That's who we are. So when people call 211, they can get connected with resources, whether they're in crisis or maybe simply need a phone number or just a little more information about a program. We are a accredited information referral system in South Dakota. So we refer to food resources, we refer to counseling, mental health related. You don't have to be in crisis to call us, but those are some of our top calls that we have that do pertain to listening and support. And of course, we refer to all of the lovely people and organizations that are on this panel today. Food, of course, is one of our highest calls always, but especially at this time since the start of the pandemic.
And to reiterate, even if there's something on this panel that you have a question about and hasn't necessarily been answered, you can go 211. They're going to put you where you need to go, whether it's mental health, child care, something that may not even be discussed in this panel. That's a great place to start, 211. Audrey, we're glad you're here. So I wanted to kick things off and just talk about the fact that there's been a lot of kind of up and down with what's been going on this summer. I think that's obvious as far as, figuring out childcare, figuring out schools, figuring out economic situation. But George, I wanted to start with you. Obviously, when this first came through, Meals on Wheels had to adapt very quickly. And we talked about that back in early May. Has any progress been made, or what does that look like now? And what kind of assistance are you guys looking for if there is assistance to be given?
Sure. Well, we have been having quite a bit of growth for people needing services throughout these months. We've kind of been seeing, as the cases increase in various communities, kind of a resurgence of requests coming back through. So we've been going from having just a few a week across the program to maybe receiving as many as 50 to 60 new calls for service across the program. Back in March, we had to switch from doing both congregates, people sitting down in dining rooms, and home delivery to just home delivery. In our program, we're still just doing the home delivery. Some of the other programs that are in the area, Spearfish specifically, is doing congregate dining together. But our biggest need right now is at the change of the seasons, we have quite a few people that do go down south for the winter, the snowbirds. And so we're starting to see a real need for volunteers as our numbers start increasing again for the numbers of meals served. We're also starting to see some challenges with some of the volunteers to help deliver those meals at the same time.
And you're thinking about a lot of seniors here also who really don't want to leave their homes or are unable to because of COVID-19. They're trying to limit their time outdoors. So you have that kind of situation on top of the need for more meals, getting extra calls for that. So are you looking for volunteers or financial assistance? What is it that you guys are needing right now?
So right now, the main thing, we always need donations. Donations are huge. We are on a 100% donation basis for our programs. Some seniors can help donate. We never force anybody to ever donate towards it. But so the communities that we serve really do come together to support our program. But as right now, as our numbers are increasing, we need more than ever the community support to make sure we keep serving all the seniors that call us and not have to do waiting lists and things like that. As we're going forward, the volunteers are always important too. There's no way we could afford to be able to deliver the thousands of meals we have to do every day if we had to hire staff to do all those. And so we have about 250 volunteers every day across all of Western South Dakota that deliver meals on a safe way, contact-free, wearing masks to people's homes so that they don't have to go out. They may not be necessarily one of the higher risk people, but maybe their spouse is, or maybe they are themselves because they're in that 60, 70 plus that we're seeing the numbers are showing that they're a higher risk for those kind of things. And they want to be safe for themselves or their loved ones that may have some of those conditions that are really make them more susceptible to the coronavirus.
George, thank you. Yeah, we're going to touch on that a little bit as these questions come through. I'm sure some of them are going to be for you, so you're going to be on the hot seat with those questions here in a little bit. Bonnie, with consumer crediting, I wanted to start with you with this question. Let's say I know nothing about financial strategies, anything. Would you be the first person I can go to get those basic questions answered?
Yes, we're a great resource for the community, and there are no income qualifying guidelines. And we know that people are struggling right now, and call us or go online. The service is free. You know, again, the CARES Act came out and it provided some relief for mortgage and rent. But again, it was deferrals, and a deferral is not the same thing as forgiveness. So at some point, all of this is going to become due. And then, you know, the CDC stepped in and they said there's an eviction moratorium. But again, it's not a forgiveness of rent. So we need to remind people you need to pay what you can. And if you need a budget or a plan on how to do that from your personal situation, that's what we do. And don't wait and don't struggle. We know there are tough times.
Well, let's get a little bit more advanced here. Let's say I'm trying to put away for retirement, but I don't know, maybe should I continue to be putting away in my retirement? Should I stop that completely and try and focus on keeping myself afloat here? Are those kind of resources offered as well? The financial advice as far as, you know, basic investments, you know, should I continue investing my 401k? Should I take out of my 401k? Things of that nature.
Our counselors go through extensive training. So yes, those are the kinds of things. The only thing we don't do is we don't give specific investment advice. That you pay an investor, you know, an investment person for. But if you're wondering what are my best options right now, we can help you. And a lot of times, you know, if you're a couple, one has one idea and one has another idea and you're not sure. I mean, because we counsel so many people a year, thousands of people a year, we can give you good suggestions, things that will actually work for you.
To me, that's invaluable because the amount of people that are financially struggling, period, could use some guidelines. I can use some guidelines on how to, you know, better budget myself moving forward, even if I'm doing okay right now, but I'm not sure about the future in the next 6 months, 12 months. Maybe I'm not saving enough, things of that nature. I think that's just totally invaluable. So what kind of questions have you been getting? Has it changed a little bit as we've gone through the summer going into the fall? Have you seen a kind of a different base of questioning or kind of a need as far as financial situations are considered?
What we see are the people that are falling through the cracks that didn't get any extra assistance in any way, shape, or form. And so they don't know what to do and they're still struggling. They didn't get the extra unemployment. They didn't qualify for a lot of different of the benefits that came through the CARES Act. And so they're wanting to know what can they do. And that's what we provide them realistic suggestions. And again, it's their choice whether they follow them or not. But for all of us, our money management is just a journey and we're going to make mistakes, but we want to try not to make them all.
Bonnie, thank you. I think, once again, I just think that's so important is getting just that basic financial advice could really help some of the hurt in the long run here. It's about playing the long game in a lot of those kind of situations. Thank you. Matt, I wanted to go to you and kind of talk about Feeding South Dakota, where things were when things got started back in March and April, and kind of what the needs and what the program looks like now, now that we're going into the fall, and what those needs are anticipated to be.
Right. Well, Feeding South Dakota, I mean, like, you know, all of my fellow nonprofits on the panel today, we've all seen dramatic changes since the middle of March, and we're obviously no different. In fact, since the middle of March, you know, we really stopped functioning with many of our standard programs, those like our food pantry in Rapid City. We closed the doors on that for the obvious reasons. We just wanted to keep both our guests and our staff safe from each other. So to minimize that social interaction, we ended up closing the doors on our food pantry there, which, that was a model that we had been working with for many years to provide people what we call client choice, the opportunity to come through and be able to select the kinds of foods and items that they and their family want. Well, with the coronavirus, we had to really change our model dramatically, and everything had to be boxed. All of our distributions had to happen, drive-through style, where there was virtually no touch and no contact between, staff, volunteers, and the recipients of those food boxes. And so in doing so, we had established a pretty significant neighborhood distribution model in Rapid City. And so as the coronavirus was starting to come around, we were packing these boxes. We started to do these neighborhood distributions, and we just got inundated to the point where we couldn't function in that mode anymore by doing neighborhoods. The neighborhoods were just getting overwhelmed with cars, and we were causing lots of problems in neighborhoods. And so we pulled back, and we really decided that the best thing to do would be to do a single distribution within the community in a central location. Ask all the other charitable food providers to come bring resources and join in on that effort so that we could really manage the community-wide resources. Because not knowing how long the virus was going to last, we wanted to make sure, I think, as the community, that we were going to have enough resources to get us through to the end, whenever the end is. So we started doing distributions out of the fairgrounds on Wednesdays. And we were seeing probably on average roughly 450 to 500 households each and every week when we were doing that. That's essentially an increase there. But besides just in Rapid City, obviously we were doing distributions in rural communities in all of western South Dakota as well, to the tune of literally 25 or 30 different communities we were going into to do these distributions as well. So we also saw an uptick then across the board, statewide, not only in western South Dakota, of about 2.5 times more households seeking food assistance than we were the same time last year. So it's been quite the process for us. The packing of food into boxes is more labor intensive. It takes more human capital to do that. The whole virus, we had to rely on volunteers that were willing to come out and do that work, help us with that work, which was really, I tell everybody, and I would think most of us would agree that, at the end of all of this, when we look back, the true heroes of this crisis are going to be the volunteers, people that were willing to volunteer to come out to somewhat allow themselves to be exposed because they just felt strong enough about the cause and the missions that they were willing to run that risk to help. And thank God they did, because there was no way we would have been able to keep up because we had to, like I said, we had to eliminate the client choice aspect. We had to box everything, and everything had to be hand loaded into cars and still does to this day. And so those are our ongoing challenges. And food procurement. The need for more and more food. When you're serving 2 or 2.5 times more household, it takes a significant amount more food to do that. So we've been pretty fortunate with the Farm to Families program that USDA has been operating since June. That's helped provide food to us and organizations like us that we've been able to help keep up with the demand for that. But we know that there's challenges ahead.
Wow. You listed it 2.5 times more, and yet you're needing to figure out ways to streamline that process. There's probably 10 things that you'd like to throw on here, but if there's someone who has a feel for a call to action here to help out Feeding South Dakota, what are the top 3 things you need? Is it manpower, financial resources, food donations, things of that nature?
Time, talent, and treasures. I think we'd all probably say the same thing. It's that time, being willing to donate your time to help out, because volunteers, as we continue to need pack boxes, and our demand for box packing may even get more significantly critical because of the loss of commodity products. When the commodity food boxes go away, we're going to have to replace those with our own packed boxes. And so there's going to be an uptick in demand for the need for volunteers to help us do that. And the talents, just whether it's talent of doing that, or being willing to help out with administrative functions or driving or whatever, and delivery and those kinds of things. I think we all would say that, we're looking for people with those kinds of talents that will be willing to help. And then the treasure part, really, it's just that willingness to contribute to the cause and to help us, as we individually, as a single organization, start looking at needing to purchase more food to meet the food demand, because the donated food supply chain has been so stressed by the high consumer demand that there's fewer and fewer amounts of donated food available across the country. So we're going to have to replace that with purchased product, and it's going to cost us a lot more money to do that.
I want to remind folks that are listening, it's easy to, listen to panels like this or listen to the news and, all over the place. We are talking about a basic need here with Meals on Wheels, with Feeding South Dakota, that these supplies are strained. The manpower is needed. Financial resources are needed to get folks basic food. This is important stuff. We need to be paying attention to Matt and George here when they're talking about the struggles that are going through, because they are on the front lines of this, and they know what's going on the ground. And with that, I want to send that to Kelsey Marino with the Salvation Army. Tell me a little bit about where you guys were back in April and May, and now what you guys have kind of shifted to, and what those needs are going into the fall.
Well, I think back in May, we were experiencing what has been described by George and Matt, that sharp uptick, that sudden influx of people needing assistance. And, working together, I think we were all able to come together and meet the need that was present in the community. Currently today, we still see an elevated need, but it's more of a sustained elevation. Our food pantry in Rapid City in the last 2 weeks has served 60 families. And we're one of the smaller pantries historically, but we've seen that sustained increase of people needing food. And on top of that, now it was common a year ago for people to come and seek assistance with maybe one need. Pretty much everybody coming through the door now has more than one need that they're seeking assistance for. It's not just food, it's rent, it's utilities, it's help paying for childcare. Your hours may be reduced at work because you're home some days taking care of kids who are doing virtual learning. It's become very complicated to meet the needs of people who come through the door, because it's not just as simple as needing a box of food anymore. But that's, I think, why it's important for all of us to come together. No one organization is meeting every need that's present. So we're all coming together. When somebody comes through the door at the Salvation Army, we're going to help them with their utilities. We're going to help them with food, with clothing, but they also may need mental health counseling. And so we're going to need to find a partner to refer them there to. They may need more extensive financial support that we would refer them to Bonnie. So I think we've really come a long way in the last, 7-8 months now in figuring out how to best help people. But those needs really are kind of just stacking up in a lot of households.
Yeah, Kelsey, the Salvation Army probably knows as much as George and Matt about the needs of the community increasing going into the last couple of months. And I like how you mentioned mental health as being one of those things. I don't think people realize, and because it's usually over a long period of time, we're at home a lot more, we're not interacting with each other as much, and that could have unforeseen psychological effects. I've noticed it. Mm-hmm. And I work as, I get to see Samantha each day, but it's from 6 feet across the studio, and that kind of stuff matters. I know we're talking about food assistance and whatnot, but don't disregard the way you feel as well, because that could take a health toll on you. And I wanted to segue into that with Audrey, with the Helpline Center in 211, because regardless of what the need is across the board, maybe if you can't see someone in person or you don't even know where to start, Audrey, why is 211 a good place to start with all of that?
Well, our biggest goal at 211 is to send people to the right door the first time. So having partners like this kind of iterating back what George and Matt and Kelsey just said, that it really took a lot in the beginning to get everyone on the same page. But that's the beauty of 211 is we literally have a page where everything is in one place. And we have a call center that they have the resources right in front of them that they're able to direct those callers to, direct professionals that may be calling in with a client, just being that listening and support, and kind of like a segue. I know we were talking about food resources, but 211 Helpline Center, we actually are the entity in South Dakota that answers the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. So when people call 211 or when they call that 1-800 number, it's kind of twofold. We're able to give them listening and support, perhaps creating a safety plan with them if it is a suicide related call, but we're also able to give them food resources. We're able to give them resources for financial assistance, rent, utilities, you name it. So it's kind of being able to help out that whole person in the times that we're talking with individuals, or when we're emailing with them, or when we're texting them, because we do have multiple ways people can get a hold of us. So it's really a wonderful tool for, I say our community, but the entirety of South Dakota to be able to utilize.
Yeah, once again, everyone here on the panel, we're talking about West River here. This is, we're not talking about the national. We're talking right here in our communities is where these needs are right now. Yeah. So, we're not talking about some far distant off land. We're talking about your neighbors, the folks that live across the street from you, the folks that live down the street from you. We're a small community. It seems like the big city compared to everywhere else out here, but we're talking a small community, tight-knit community, and we're really hurting on food assistance right now, and volunteers, and financial resources. And Matt was saying, I think it was treasure. Matt, what I loved the three phrases there. What was it that you were saying?
Time, talent, treasures.
Time, talent, treasures. So across, George, Kelsey, Matt, those three things really basically hammer it home. Yeah. Okay. So if you feel a call to action, like, man, I really want to do something, but maybe I'm really not into the whole physical labor thing, but I do have financial resources. I'm like, I do want to help. George, how would I do that? Where would I even start if I want to volunteer? Let's say I want to volunteer for Meals on Wheels. How do I even get that started?
Well, you can give us a call to either start your call at 211 and they'll get the right number to you, or you can give us directly at 394-6002, or we do have a website, mealswithans.program.com. And we can get you connected with whatever community you happen to live in. So if you live in Bison, South Dakota, or Custer, or Edgemont, or Belle Fourche, or wherever it happens to be, we can give you opportunities to serve your friends and neighbors in your community where you're at. Same thing with donations. Every single dollar that is raised in Bison or Edgemont or wherever is only spent in Edgemont or Bison or whatever. I know a lot of times people are worried about, like you said, this big national conglomerate kind of thing, but all of us are South Dakotans. We are here. We're here for your local neighbors. We're here for your grandma, your grandpa. That's who we're here. We aren't, it's going to stay here. Everything's going to stay here. You want to help here. You will help here, both financially with your time or your treasure, or with your time to be able to volunteer, to come help us sanitize between and after each station, whatever it happens to be. We've got opportunities for you, whatever you need to do. And again, 211, I can't say enough about the resource that they have. When all of this started, there were so many needs, like Audrey was saying. Matt was able to come together and help us provide Meals on Wheels with food boxes to get out to the seniors that we had. Kelsey and the Salvation Army has an amazing program where every year we distribute out holiday, Thanksgiving, and Christmas meal boxes out to all of the high-rise units we're in. That's just their program that we just help with our volunteers. But all of us coming together, Bonnie provides amazing information for the seniors and the community as a large, but it takes the whole village. It takes all of us coming together with the experts and the knowledge and the volunteers to be able to do what we do well, but still partner with it. So if someone says, hey, you know what, thanks for the supper, thanks for the lunch, but you know what, I'm having a hard time this week with, you know, I can't keep my electric bill on, it's coming up, I can't pay that. We could have them reach out to Kelsey or again, 211 for additional resources. And again, between all the community resources we have together here, we really are helping all the communities we serve in West River and beyond.
That's a really good point. So if you are receiving some of these services, maybe from Meals on Wheels or Feeding South Dakota Salvation Army, or even if you're going up to consumer accrediting with Bonnie, you know, they're going to be able to send you in the right direction. Be like, you know, this is a weird question. I know maybe this isn't your area of expertise. And you can say, now, wait a second. It might be, because we've been working with all these different conglomerates over the last couple of months here. We have to, in order for us to function. So what is your question? We can probably get you to the right place. So no matter which organization you're in contact with, it'd be a good start. Matt, I want to pose the same question to you. If I'm wanting to volunteer for Feeding South Dakota, how would I start that?
It's really pretty simple. If you would, people want to just go to our website at feedingsouthdakota.org. Homepage comes up. You scroll down just a little bit. There's a box there that says volunteer. You click on the volunteer, and it takes you to the volunteer sign up portal for our organization, and it lists all the opportunities that we have in all three of our locations for people that want to volunteer, and so they can just go ahead and sign up for that. I'm going to tell you that if somebody just happened to show up at the building and be willing to volunteer, they're probably not going to get chased off. You know, as long as they bring a mask to wear and they're willing to have their temperature checked at the door, we'll probably put them to work, because there's always plenty of work that needs to be done. And like I said, and George said it as well too, very eloquently, that there's absolutely no way that we do the work that we do and touch the lives of all those households that we're serving if it's not for the volunteers. Volunteers literally make it happen, because I think we've accumulated something north of 60,000 hours of volunteer time in the last 6 or 7 months. So you just think about what that equates to of full-time employees. It's significant. So we couldn't do it without them. So we encourage people to just go and do that.
We actually have a question from our Facebook feed and our live feed, which, by the way, if you can't watch this on my TV, you can watch it online as well. We have it on digitally. This is going to be for Audrey. Does 211 offer support with children and teenagers, especially with the changing educational environments? Have you seen an increase in cases for folks calling you since school has started for any resources?
Sure. Perhaps a larger call that we do have is childcare related. So people looking for mainly financial assistance with childcare. We also have, just kind of speaking about changes that have developed since March, we in fact have a program called 605 Strong. It's a partnership between us and Department of Social Services to just give people extra support when we've identified in a call or contact that they're experiencing increased anxiety and stress. So through that, we've been able to identify that people are calling just to talk about the stress of having the changes with their children, that they've noticed change with their children and anxiety and stress with those kiddos. So we've been able to conduct, and in fact, coming up here on October 20th, doing a virtual event just to talk about how kids are coping with COVID-19 and the changes that they really are experiencing every day when they're in school, not knowing if they'll go to school next week, particularly in our Rapid City area. So yes, I think it's our children, in fact, do call 211. We don't have an age requirement to call 211. You can be 98, you can be 6 years old, just as examples, and just have that listening and support. So certainly children and youth are able to access our resources. We have resources specific to youth and children. In fact, if you can go onto our website, helplinecenter.org, and search all of our resources on your own. So you're not required to call 211 to have access to resources. It's all there on our website. We have specific searches for youth and children. So if you go to our guided search underneath the tab, you'll select, of course, the county that you're calling from or living in. And under the term special populations, you can click on there and you'll find all the resources for children, all the resources for youth, whether that's mental health, clothing, education resources. Because of school kind of just ending in March, we quickly developed on our site. It's always on the top of the top bar of any page you go on our website, helplinecenter.org. At the top, you can click COVID-19. It's a bright green bar. And on there, there's resources for families. There's resources for children that, we are sharing what PBS is doing some virtual learning. We're tagging youth mental health resources. We're tagging, how to talk to your child about COVID-19, the changes that they're seeing in their family, in school, and really in the entire world around them. So absolutely, it's totally accessible to children and youth. We have a special texting line for youth, in fact, for all high schoolers. So if you're of high school age, you can text 898-211 with your information. And that's just a special line. It's called Text for Hope, that you can just share. It doesn't always have to be crisis related. It can say, I'm worried about my friend, or I'm really struggling. I have this test coming up, or I haven't left my house, or, whatever truly a teenager is going through. We have all those resources available to them, and we want them to utilize it.
And I think what we can do is we'll put that in our comments section, that text line as well. So for folks that want to look that up real quick, it should be there. Bonnie, I had a quick question for you, and this is something that I was asked and I didn't really know the answer to. Quickly, if, I'm really worried, if I'm not paying my bills on time, or I'm falling behind my credit rating, I'm really worried about my credit rating, and I want to make sure that that's not affected. Is there someone I can call, or would I go to you guys to get counseling on that? Is there a way to recover that? Falling behind on rent, electric bills, things of that nature. What would your advice be on that?
Definitely give us a call. For example, if you have a forbearance or deferral in place, according to the CARES Act, it's not going to show up on your credit report. So it's important that you have made those arrangements. If you haven't made those arrangements, then the late payment can show up. So again, you have to act on your own behalf. But if you have questions, definitely give us a call. The other thing I wanted to mention, Brent, is this is a time of year where you see a lot of scams going on. People prey on people in a crisis. And if they have a question, if they're worried, is Social Security really going to do this to me? Call us and we'll calm you down. We'll walk you through what would be considered a legitimate claim and what's not. We get a lot of those calls, and we're a resource for people in the community for that.
Ooh, that is so important. I'm so glad you mentioned that. That is so important, is that, there are a lot of scams going out there. My granny almost fell for one out in Indiana from the Social Security Administration, saying the police were going to come to her house and arrest her.
Yeah.
I mean, that stuff is real and it is happening. So, Bonnie, you guys at Consumer Credit would be the perfect place to call to confirm those kinds of things right here in this local community.
Exactly.
Wow. With that, what I want to do is I want to give everyone like a 15 to 20 second maybe call to action here. Leave you guys with whatever you want to end with here, and let people know what's going on and how we can move forward. George, I'll start with you.
Well, our logo and our motto is Meals on Wheels, together we can deliver. Truly, it is take the entire community together. So I give everyone an opportunity to reach out to us, 211, Feeding South Dakota, Salvation Army, any of the United Way organizations that are here locally, to see how you can make a difference here. We need you more than ever.
George, thank you. Bonnie, go with you.
Just a reminder that, shelter, food, utilities, and your transportation are your priorities. Everything else can wait. But if you need help figuring out how you're going to deal with the rest of it, give us a call, because we can take you from where you are personally to where you want to be.
Bonnie, thank you. Matt, Feeding South Dakota. Oh, you have the mute button on. We got you. Well, I knew we were going to get one of them.
Yeah, you knew one of us was going to screw it up, and it was going to be me probably. But no, Feeding South Dakota, our mission is to try to eliminate hunger in the state of South Dakota, and through these critical times, our goal is to try to make food available to as many struggling families as we can across the entire state. In western South Dakota, with the 14 distributions that we're doing in neighborhoods in the city of Rapid City, plus the additional 70 partner agencies that we help provide food to that are doing distributions in communities, on top of the 25 or so distributions that we do ourselves in rural communities in western South Dakota. We know that we're probably not getting to everybody yet, but it's our goal to continue to try to increase our distribution to be able to do that. A huge thank you to all the volunteers and all the supporters that have been with us over the last 7 months through these very difficult times. And I just put out a plea that you'll stay with us until we get to the end of this.
Matt, thank you. I think people are hearing that loud and clear for sure. Kelsey, Salvation Army called to action.
I actually have a message for those who may be watching this who are in need of assistance. So many people that I've talked to over the last couple of months communicated that they were very apprehensive about reaching out. Maybe they've never sought assistance before. And so to those people who may be watching today, I just encourage you to pick up that phone and make that phone call. Call 211, tell them your need. They're going to get you to the people who can help you. We are all standing ready to assist you. And there's no shame in seeking help if you need it. Please don't suffer in silence. Please don't go without. Because this community has really rallied to come together and meet the needs. So my call to action is really to those who are needing that help today.
Wow. Kelsey, thank you. Wow. Audrey, call to action for 211.
Well, as the partners here today have shared, 211 really is for everyone. You don't have to be in crisis, but if you are, we are the listening, we are the support. We are a centralized location for all resources in South Dakota, whether it's food, financial assistance, mental health related. I encourage those that are watching, whether you're in a professional role or you're seeking, you're the one that's seeking support, that you visit our website, helplinecenter.org. You call 211 when someone is saying, hey, where do I go for this? I am looking for a meal to be delivered. I am looking for financial assistance. I'm looking for a food giveaway. Tell them to call 211 or visit our website. That is our sole purpose in existing, to support South Dakotans to have resources and have the help that they need.
Audrey, thank you. I want to thank United Way. I want to thank the panelists here for coming together. I think this is just critically important. And we've had every week we talk about something critically important that's going on in the community, but we're talking about some basic needs here. Food security. If you have time, if you have resources and you don't know where to start, you do want to help. They're asking for it. They need it. Let's get out there and do it. I think this is the start of the conversation. As we said back in May, that we're not ending the conversation today. This is once again just the start of the discussion. I want to thank everyone for being here today. And for those of you watching, we're going to be continuing discussions like these through these times. So thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe out there.
All right, we are clear, everybody.
All right. Good job, everyone.
Hey, thanks for taking the bullet for us all, Matt, by having your microphone muted. Well done. Thank you.
I knew it was going to happen. I was like, man, we haven't had one this entire, like 3 seconds later.
All of our fears.
That's right.
The lips are moving and nobody can hear it. So everybody knows, everybody's so accustomed to this that they just chuckle themselves going, oh, he's on mute.
Right.
Good, he's on mute. That's right.
Well,
I did that to take the pressure off, George, just so.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks, Matt.
Good one for the team.
So if you guys have any resources that you want to share, any links or anything like that, feel free to go to the News Center One Facebook Live and just stick it in the comments section. So we had a good amount of people that were watching. So they'll probably come back and take a look at that and be like, oh, there's a link right there, because it's all about even folks that are struggling financially, whatnot. They're like, it just takes so much time to get to type into Google, even that's, I just don't have time to do that. They see the link right there. They might just click on it as they're watching it. So that may be a good place to start. But otherwise, you guys were great. I was informed about things going on too. So that was helpful. I appreciate your guys' time.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Doug Brandt, thank you very much.
George,
Thanks so much.
Bonnie, Audrey, Kelsey, enjoy your weekend, folks.
Bye.
Left and right, up and
Friday.
down.
What you guys do.
Thanks, Matt. We'll talk to you guys later.
All right, bye.
Bye.
Bye.